and girls. This is the show you're tuned in tonight. Hey, we're just waiting for the host to get here, and he'll be here any second. We're trying to get Santo on board for him to run tonight, but apparently there was a couple of things he kept running into. So anyway, I said, no problem, I've got the help for you, and we're good to go here. I'm just going to sit in tonight at KPI. We have Peter and Tony as well joining us all tonight. So as soon as Santo gets here, hand the helm over. Sounds like maybe we've got a whistling issue in the background. How's it going, Peter?
Yeah, you're getting bashed in and out, so I'm catching words, but not real good. Anyways, I'm here.
Yes, you are. So it must be live radio. Kate's breaking up.
Yeah, go figure.
Yeah, I just got off a call. One with Santo and one with Tracy, and well, maybe a couple of girls here and there, but nothing we're talking about. So, hey, Santo, it's all good. Oh, we don't recognize anything on the page now. What we need to do is sign back out, and you have to refresh it out to the board tile. So, back to that original link and click on your show, Syncretism, and when you do that, since the board is hot, or just refresh it and the Skype button will be there. It's all good. I don't know if you can hear me. I'm tired today. Oops, am I in the right room here?
Yeah, they're hammering your mic pretty bad there, Kate.
Okay. Well, you guys sound good. Tell you what, take over and I'm going to get Santo on the board here, okay?
Yeah, can do.
Okay.
Good evening to everybody. Freedom reigns, and hello, Peter. How are you, sir?
Very good, very good. Just did a 2-hour call on Republic Broadcasting Network. I guess I got a little bit of bigger soapbox over there. We were talking about decedents all for about the 2-hour call today. It was covering, of course, my favorite topic, bonds, and other instruments that they will successfully use upon us.
Mm-hmm. I believe you were over there with Rebecca Carley, weren't you?
Yep, Dr. Carley, yep. She gave me a soapbox today.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant. I bet that was an awesome show.
Oh, it was good. Very good. A lot of breaks in between, so that's good. So I can slow down a little.
That's it. It always helps pace it a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, different pace over there. When we get rolling here, it's a different pace here.
Yeah, flat out here.
Is Brother Santos in the room tonight?
I'm not sure if he's there yet. You with us, Santo? Nope, not quite. I believe he's having some...
Yeah, I was trying to say here, I just made his mic hot, so he just got there. Thank you, Santo.
Yes.
And I will say we have a caller in as well. I'm not sure who it is, so you guys carry on. I'll screen the call and figure out who it is and see. We'll go from there. So carry on.
Yeah, lovely. Guys, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you fine.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, well, here I am. Sorry about that. I tried to work out how to do the panel, which I haven't been able to do yet, but that'll be right for next time. But I failed, and so that's why Kate's got the board. So apologies, folks. But anyway, I'm here. I still have a pretty bad tooth. There's an infection there, so since last week, so I'm not very happy about that. But anyway,
yeah,
hopefully I'm gonna get some peroxide and wash it out and see if I can get rid of this infection. I've been doing some coconut oil pulling, which you just put it in your mouth for 20 minutes and it draws all the mercury and all the rubbish out. So I've done that, and that feels good every time I do that. But
yeah.
I need some real remedies. I think Kate suggested the peroxide. So I'll have to learn how to take that and try that.
Yeah,
you should know how to do that, Pete.
Yeah, well, I was actually using a little bit distilled water, sodium bicarbonate, because it makes it nice and oxygen rich, so the pathogens can't hang out too much. I'm having no issues as of yet after the two pullings. So those two pain in my asses have gone away, thank goodness. So I'm back on track now. I can actually run my mouth.
Yeah, I watched a film, DVD, that my brother gave me called Silent Killer. I think that's what it's called, about teeth, and it shows how mercury is constantly pouring, vapors are constantly pouring off those teeth, those fillings.
Yep.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've known that. Matter of fact, yeah, most people that have come down with cancers of some sort or another, 98% had mercury fillings in their face, and because they're toxic to themselves, it was leaching through, because, you know, you have nerve endings and everything that travel through the teeth are a live cell. So these nasty-ass fillings they put on us back in the 70s that we didn't know nothing about are actually causing them a little money tree for treatment of cancers and stuff. Yeah.
Yep. They mentioned in this video that mercury was the easiest compound that to put in the teeth with the most durability, and that's why they've stuck with it, though they know that it leaks and it's toxic. So there is certainly some accountability here from the industry. They know what they're doing. They know that their products are toxic, but they go ahead and administer them because they're an easy fix and an easy way to make money.
It's part of the common purpose drive on the Agenda 21, unfortunately. It's ingrained in the systems.
Yeah. Now, your average person out there would have no idea that, first of all, they know that they're administering poisonous things to us, and when they discover this, they probably give these entities the benefit of the doubt, and usually superficial researchers that are searching conspiracies, they will usually be very kind to these entities, and they will say things like, well, they did it for convenience, they did it for all other reasons other than the true motives at the very, very, very top, and that is to deliberately poison mankind. I pity the researchers that don't reach that conclusion. They always stop short. Have you noticed some of them? They stop short and they don't go all the way. When you do your research properly, you realize that behind all of these sinister things are the Vatican families who know the science of destroying their brothers so that they can have the upper hand and rule over them for as long as they keep them in the dark. So there's nothing innocent about dentists putting poison in our mouths. And even though they've been trained to think that that's the best thing that we have and might be a little bit toxic, but nonetheless the industry does it, so we all conform. So even though the average dentist would have no idea of the true nature of this evil being perpetrated on us, nonetheless, the real reasons are more sinister than most people can suspect. And it's probably best that they don't suspect it, because they would probably have a heart attack if they realized how corrupt this world really is and how evil just a handful of people at the top are that are perpetrating this. They know that there are remedies for all, there are cures for all diseases. We could all enjoy perfect, balanced health tomorrow if they shut down their machinery of big pharma and profit and corporation. But they've made a decision to stick with their poisons and to perpetrate them because of the lovely profits that they get and the effect of having people under their control. So it's unfortunate that the masses will probably never realize this, and if they should, it would probably destroy them to know how evil just the few are at the very, very top. So probably a good thing that people are awakening slowly and at the pace that it is, because all things happen for a purpose and all things occur at the right time. So, guys, let's just hope that these fictions fall in a heap very, very soon, because, my goodness, in every area, the elites have got everything covered. They've got the legalities covered, so that we don't see the true law. They've got food covered, so that we don't cure ourselves and have great health by the foods that we eat. They've got big pharma and doctors and dentists indoctrinated to...
You know they don't have those on top?
Yep.
But they don't have us. They don't have... Better yet, they want us to... The fact that we know who we are. They can claim whatever they want to be. The simple truth of the matter is, for everyone that's listening, the very blood that runs through your veins is your claim to this earth. We're a living organism of this earth. You are the life. Remember that. It's all included in your DNA. It's in the blood. And they say there's something in the blood. That's why they went after the family bloodline. That's why they had to get it under contract. And as soon as somebody decided that they're under contract to a surname, you've given up. It's not a birthright, it's a blood right. It's the very DNA. That is your perfect signature. That is your voice. Your DNA is yours. No one else's. Hey, I want to talk about, you might get, two that are closely matched in what is it, a billion or two or something like that. But just realize that down even further. No. There are no two identical DNA. Two identical twins don't have the same DNA.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is your blood type, Tonto?
A positive.
Yeah, you're the same as me. We're both ISIS Genesis. We're the first Genesis.
Yeah.
Yeah, no wonder we're doing this. Go figure.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Anyway, so I'm going to urge people to get over to SunkyTempleTrust.com at some point and do a little bit of reading and understand where this all came from, the tree of life. Yeah, I just want to jump that in there because the key has been found, it has been turned, the cellular memory is back. They lose. So they can do whatever they want. I'm hermetic. Don't affect me. The thing is, I don't give anything energy that I don't want to give it energy, and that's what I've been doing with the system, and so all of us. We're not giving the system energy anymore. The first illusion was the gold. And there's an interesting story around that for another night. I know it'll happen to some. And they transferred that away from gold, which was the essence of the craft spirit, into paper. And everyone's chasing around trying to save themselves with money. And that's exactly the illusion that people are doing. That's why there's such a hunger and lust for money and gold and all the rest of it. Because back in the day, it doesn't affect anymore, but the whole matrix of gold, if you think of something like Ghostbusters, part of us is trapped in that. But it's not more. I'm going to do a whole show on this. I just wanted to touch on that. But this is an amazing time right now. People need to know that these guys have been stripped of their power.
Okay, your audio is absolutely terrible, but seriously.
Okay, I'm shutting up now.
Yeah, got the gist of it though. Yeah, they're done. They are done, and folks, we can rejoice. We're obviously not out of the woods, of course, because they still want to jump up and down and make some fuss, but they're done. They're finished. Once David awakens and he's got his 5 pebbles in his hands and he's ready to strike Goliath and knock Goliath over the fat lady sings. So it's time to take back the true freedom that was ours from the very first moment, and living it, not just speaking it, actually living it. And people then begin to... It's amazing how when you're living it, people begin to notice and begin to follow suit. I've noticed this with people that have been resistant to me, for instance. A year ago, some of the members of my family that were still resistant and still going to Jehovah's Witness meetings are now asking me questions about the cell salts and the zodiac and how it works and why do we need to take 3 cell salts and what's this all about, and so it might take them 3 or 4 months to go away and huff and puff and say that you're stupid and you're silly because you're going against the standard consensus way of doing things. But eventually people do pay attention and they do notice. And so you just have to hold firm, continue in the path, and many, many people will follow. That's what I've found. There's no need to be shaken from your tree. A lot of people like to voice their opinions and ridicule you, and that can have a devastating effect if you're not strong and if you're not determined. But if we stand firm and be determined and hold the course, many people will follow suit, and many people will eventually benefit from the path that we've blazed for them, and the ones that have blazed paths for us that we are following. So hold your heads up, guys. There's only 5 weeks now for that flicking of the switch. And our good old solar system is poised to take us through to the beautiful photon belt, the light of Sion, the dragon's breath, as it is called. And as we enter Aquarius, the age of knowing, we leave the doubting and the believing of Pisces. You see, Pisces is all about division. 2 fish. One's going upward toward the air to get some air, and the other one's going down toward the illusion. And so this is how we have been divided in the period of Pisces with the ruler Jupiter. Jupiter is the ruler of Pisces, and the word Jesus comes from Jupiter and Zeus merged together. So you have Jupiter Zeus or Jesus. And this is why Jesus or Jesus has been ruling as the fisher of men in the age of Pisces, the mutable divided sign of water, and water is emotion. So emotions have been the order of the day, and confused emotions for that. I mean, there are more appropriate water signs that aren't so confused as Pisces. For instance, Cancer, cardinal water, and Scorpio, fixed water. But we happened to be going through probably the worst of all the signs in terms of the collective. Not the individual. If you have Pisces in your chart, as I do, Pisces moon, it's not so bad. But as a collective, when we pass through the age of Pisces, we're going through the feet, which is the most remote part from the head. You see, Pisces corresponds to the feet. The 2 feet are the 2 fish. Yeah, and and so this is called the Iron Age. In the book of Daniel, the Bible, there's a vision that Daniel has of an image with a gold head, silver arms, bronze torso, and iron legs and iron and clay feet. Well, that's Pisces. Iron and clay be the doubting and the believing of Pisces. So we're going to be delivered from this confused energy, and more so in 5 weeks' time, when it will officially be the end of Pisces. So Aquarius began in 62, 50 years ago. There's always a 50-year cusp between the signs. So Aquarius started in 62, Pisces ended in 2012. That transitional cusp has basically covered all of our lifetime. I'm 49. I was born in 63. so, excuse me, I need to clean my throat, guys, if you can take that.
Okay, there you go. All right. Am I still breaking up badly or what?
Yeah.
Tony, Peter, you got there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Don't hesitate to jump in, eh? I don't know how my sound is. How is it now?
Not good.
Okay. Well, someone else turns throat, but only great with the help them out.
Okay. Yeah. Are you much good on star signs, Peter?
Not really. Everything I've learned I'm getting from Santos, I never dug deep into it, so it's that's one area that I'm a little light on. I'm heavy on most of the other subjects. Is one subject that haven't really delved into in a more aggressive way.
No, it's the same as me. I mean, everything I know about the astrotheological aspects I've learned from Santos, to be honest with you. But, yeah.
Yeah, guys, like all the signs, they have their elements. And Aquarius is air. And air equates with mind. So, in our bodies, we have the 4 natures of the earth, which is sensual. We have sensual 5 senses. And these are primarily the way that we acquire and glean information for the mind. And so we all have this. We all have earth. We all have water. Our bodies are made up of water. This is the emotional body, the soul. And then we have air, which is gas, and this is mental. And we all have fire. We are of the 4 elements. And of course, the elementals are very, very desirous and envious of this beautiful condition that we are in, living in the 4 kingdoms. We are a special creation, friends. Absolutely a wonderful living temple. And when you look at the word temple, you will see the word tempo, which means time. And time is chronos in Greek. And in Latin, it is called Saturn. Time is Saturn, or Satan. That's why the scriptures say that Satan is the ruler of this world. Yes, time is the ruler of this world. We will be born in time, we will die in time. And so Saturn has dominion over time. And this is why our body is a temple. It's tempo, or an organism devoted to El, temple. So everything from physical structures such as cathedrals and our bodies are all in honor of tempo, time, Saturn. And of course, Saturn is the ruler of Aquarius. And Saturn's vibration is such that it is very harmful for the physical organism in this physical reality. But for spiritual and mental things, Saturn's vibration one of the highest vibrations, and a very, very salvific vibration. This is why Saturn is always praised by the philosophers. 500 years ago in the Renaissance times, when Pico would greet Ficino, for instance, the two great Renaissance masters, they would always raise their hands up high and praise Saturn. And they would always, in their greetings, they would always say that hail Saturn, and that we long for the return of the reign of Saturn. And Aquarius is Saturn's rulership. Also Uranus, his father, the heavens. And this is why the scriptures say that when Christ says, when I return, I will sit on the right hand of my Father. That's Saturn sitting at the right hand of Uranus, ruling in the age of Aquarius. We have 2,000 years of this, and it's a very, very blessed time in history. It's a time that we can look forward to, and we have been looking forward to. In fact, all the prophecies, when the Jews are looking for their Messiah who hasn't returned yet, they're actually talking about Uranus and Saturn. Have you ever wondered why the Star of David is everywhere now? Because David is Saturn. These people are anticipating the return of Saturn. You will notice the emblem, the Seal of Solomon, or the Star of David, has really only been in real popular mainstream vogue for about, 60 years. And the reason being is because these morons and buffoons that support Zionism and go around killing other people for Zionism and Star of David is because they've co-opted that beautiful symbol, and they are anticipating that they will be the new rulers of Aquarius. And this is why they use their symbol, because they want that star and that symbol to be their logo. Just like Julius Caesar used the Piscean logo, the Vesica Pisces, and the cross, which is a Piscean symbol, and the motif of the future of men and Jesus and all of this rubbish. That's why the Julian family, who has ruled for 2,000 years, have used their literalist Christian church to gather taxes, and the donation of Constantine and Peter's pence and the IRS and all of this. But you see, their contract is over and it finishes in 5 weeks' time. But the new contract, well, the new contractors, they think the Zionists are the ones that think that they're going to have the new contract for the next 2,000 years of the age of Aquarius. That's why they've got their logos out there, fully in view of the public, without them realising what's going on. They see this pretty hexagonal star and they think it's a lovely little symbol. But what's going on behind the scenes is we have the Rothschild family who are behind this symbol. Family, and they take blue and on the corporate flags, showing that they are the owners of this land called Israel, this modern-day Israeli state. But what they are really trying to do is that they've got their logos out, their corporate logos out, because they are anticipating and hoping, preparing to be the new corporation, just like JC did 2,000 years ago. And these families have been doing this for such a long time, folks. It's nothing new. And this is not my theory either. This is how the takeover happens. You've got to remember, Rome was a republic for 500 years. And it was a smooth operating machine until the JC family came along. And they gave JC all of it. And we've been paying tithes and tributes to this corporation for 2,000 years. This is why it's a very, very sad state of affairs when you see all of these 30,000 Christian denominations, and they're all saying from their pulpits, the so-called priests and ministers and pastors and teachers in these churches, they're all telling their morons that go to their churches, don't worry about the governments. We know they're out of control, but we need to pay taxes to them because the Bible says we should, and Jesus ordained it, and Jesus blessed it, and he said, pay unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Of course, they misquote all these words.
Matter of fact, Chuck Baldwin actually wrote a book about the way they've misinterpreted and bastardized what is the 13th. I can't even think of it. Anyways, about rendering under Caesar, and they've twisted it all sideways. And he's actually covering it from the proper perspective. He's one of the very few. Matter of fact, he divested himself from a 5013C church down in Pensacola, Florida, back a couple of years ago, and went up to Montana, and actually he's no longer under the corporate brow. So he stepped off that plantation, and he knew he was convicted to do such, so he did.
Are you talking about Chuck Baldwin or Chuck Norris?
Chuck Baldwin.
Baldwin, yeah. I know both of those guys are switched on. I know that Chuck Norris is also aware of the corruption, and he has spoken out, and he does. I don't think he's completely free from the church mentality, but Chuck Norris is also doing well, and I know Chuck is also. Yeah, let's hope more people in Hollywood and in these more conspicuous public places can open their eyes and help people who look up to them, because these are like role models, and people look up to them and hope to have guide. This is what pulls a lot of.
Santo?
You're breaking up now as well.
Yeah, your mic, check your connections. It sounds like you're breaking up a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, you were mentioning Hollywood starlets. There's one recently called, with a stage name, Tequila, and she's gone public with a lot of quite sensible information, actually. But she's getting a big lot of listeners talking about the Illuminati, Hollow Earth, all sorts of aspects of it. Tequila.
Excellent. Thanks for that.
I've got a couple of things up that I'd like to share, just a few excerpts here and there. I'm kind of going all over the map here tonight, but we're going to be playing Wake Up. Everybody game?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Let's see if we can find this. Just scrolling through a couple of things here. Here we go. By the way, this is taken from Meredith Quinn Teachings. I'm going to share this. This is it's amazing the thing that will come back in full circle years later, and you just kind of go, yeah, here we go. Anyway, these are the events that took place to cause the surrender of the Roman Empire in 408 AD. It's not a coincidence that that's 12 either. Anyway, there they were, the great legions of Rome, to the north, south, east, and west, as far as the eyes could see. It was as if the sun had shown its light to defeat the small band of warriors of Alaric. Suddenly, the legions looked up, and what they saw caused them to drop their weapons. There were ships of vehicles made of copper or brass that could go up or down, forward and backwards, like a wild bright orange fire shooting out the back of the ships, which also fell to the ground. They burned some of the soldiers and grass on the ground, which caused the Roman legion to run from the battlefields. This happened in the year 408 AD. There you go. Use your imagination. The American Empire, or whatever Zionist empire you want to call it, the Roman Empire, still, they just there's going to be cleanup long before December 21st to pass through because, my intuition is going off grid right now. They have been for a little while, and there's a lot of stuff happening around the world. And it's all making sense. And I need people to get a sense of hope. We have to stay the course, and we will. I know the people that I'm working with here, you, Peter, Tony, everybody I'm working with. Not one of us is one of the we are what we're looking for. When you process. I use it all the time anyway. We have passed that point of no return.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jonathan.
Yeah, I didn't get a lot of that, but I because you broke up a little bit there, Kate. But I think I got most of the gist. Nonetheless, yes, we Rome can be defeated. This fiction of empire, it's a kingdom of ideas, and the ideas no longer serve us. They've been providing ideas like capitalism, democracy, corporation, commerce, maritime sea. All this stuff comes from Rome. The alphabet that we use, even the church mentality of this planet, what we call Christendom. This is all Rome. It all comes from empire. And the Anglo-Saxon empire, which comes forth as a child of Rome, connected to Rome and not separate from Rome, which is the seventh incarnation of world power. You see, in Scripture, you have Egypt, number one. When Egypt became an empire and corrupted, from pre-dynastic to dynastic Egypt, that's when corruption set in. Then there was Assyria, Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, Rome, and now the Anglo-Saxon world power. These are the seven world powers that are spoken of in Scripture. But they're all really the same one beast. It's a beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. And so this beast is able to be killed. In fact, the prophecies talk about the day when it is killed. So we're basically just sitting around waiting for this to happen, or watching it happen. And I'm not talking about sitting around as in sitting on our laurels. I don't think there's anyone out there listening who is sitting on their laurels. I know the caliber of the person, the type of person that is tuning into this show. And I know that many people are very, very active. They might not be on this panel speaking, but they'll be there listening. And there are thousands of our brothers listening in, and they are very, very active in their communities. Very diligent. Many of them are diligent in law and uncovering the frauds of legalities and fictions, etc. Many are also uncovering the fictions of the churches, which is great, because it's sad, for someone like me who knows the real story of theology. When you see people who are good, well-intentioned, but only have half of the story, and so they've got 1 foot in the fiction and 1 foot out. And you see this a lot, where they have great intentions and great information, but only half of the information. And so they still sort of have 1 foot in churchianity and support it because they believe that there is some good in churches. Well, they're based on the notion of good. They are based on good, yes, but they are not good. They are places where pedophilia and corruption are harboured. So it's time to turn our backs on institutionalized churches. They don't represent Christ at all, or Christianity, or any kind of truth. They are corporate monstrosity, out of control, and under the complete direction of the general of darkness and the black sorcerers of this planet. And they take orders and instructions from them. How do I know this? Well, I know. I was on the inside. I was a Jehovah's Witness, and I saw this. I saw how the Jehovah's Witnesses were NGOs for 10 years, between 91 and 2001. Now, they are very vociferous when it comes to condemning the UN in their magazines and publications. The Jehovah's Witnesses will tell you that the UN is from the devil, that the UN is all about opposing God's kingdom, etc. And yet, for 10 years, between 1991 and 2001, they were NGOs of the UN, non-government organizations. You see, the UN are very clever. What they did, the Rothschilds, is they created this monstrosity for government to join. And I believe there's only about a third of the governments and nations of the world that have joined this monstrosity, because they know that the moment you join the UN, you lose your national sovereignty. So there are countries like Libya, Syria, North Korea, Venezuela, Afghanistan, Iraq. Do any of those countries sort of ring a bell as to why they would be opposed to the UN? Yes, these are the countries that have been attacked in the last 10 years, because the World Bank and the Rothschilds and the UN and the IMF, they can't have a world where your Irans and your Iraqs are sovereign states. They must all come under the subjugation of Zionism, the Vatican, and the Swiss bankers. They're a big club. It's a big pedophile club. And they attract the lowest vibrating of human beasts that have been generated on this planet. And they put their hands up, eagerly lining up to join this monstrosity, because they know that when they get to the top, they will have as many little boys as they need to rape and violate. They will have as much power as they want and lust for. They will have their back pockets full of cash. This is why Barack Obama is always smiling. He's not smiling because he loves Americans. It's because he loves the corporation and the job that he's got as the most fictional idol that walks the planet. And when you get that job, you get a lot of cash in your back pocket. So he just checks his bank account every day, and that keeps him smiling, because he is a lustful, lower-minded moron of the lowest order. I mean, you'd have to be to have a position where you lie so much to so many people and hurt so many people. So these people, you know, that at the top, they smile and they wave at the camera and they look pretty good in public, although all they do in private is attend orgies and seances and black satanic sorcery rituals where they sacrifice, torture, and eat little children. This is where the little children are going, and we wonder how they go missing and why the government is powerless, seemingly, to find these children and to stop people trafficking and stop children from going missing. No, the governments are not powerful. They've got their hands tied because they're run by the same mafia that that is causing all the other havoc in the planet. So, as we awaken and expose these entities, they are finding it more and more difficult to have a supply of children to eat. And I'm sorry if I'm offending the listeners' ears, but reality is reality, folks. These people have been sacrificing and murdering. See, what is a war if not a holocaust? And what is a holocaust if not a sacrifice to their satanic gods, their fictional gods? And when they get you to swear on the Bible and in God's name in court, they don't want you to swear in the name of truth and the universal God, the Iron Sof. They're getting you to participate in their fiction, their God. You're swearing on behalf of their God. It's their system. And they are the priests of Baal. Make no mistake about it. These guys have devoted their lives and their soul to their corporate fiction. And their little game. They don't like it. They don't like it. Their gravy train has been to them such a long time. It's quite easy. Our mind, animal, it's I educate them, train them, recruit them, and later good proof is not a fight. They've all been the way, guys. It's time into the truth in every incarnation, wherever we may be in the universe.
Santos, you're going down with the same problem. The audio is breaking up all over the place, mate.
Yeah.
Boy, does that be Peter's got to carry the ball?
It looks like you and me, bro, for a moment. I don't know if Santos can do anything about it.
No.
Hang up and call back again and see if that fixes that. But maybe also be with the picture might get.
That didn't
Yeah,
make
that
sense
beaky breaks
to me.
off, Kate.
I can't do anything on that before, so.
Yeah, I can't make that one out at all.
All right. Okay, take it away, guys. Take it away. I'll see what I can do with Santos.
Okay,
All right.
any comments on that, Pete?
Well, I was actually off on another call. That's the way my life goes. I got sidetracked for about the last 10 minutes on another call.
Okay. Well, we were just having a chat in the chat room, and I'd like to bring some of that up at the moment because that's where we were. I was finding it really difficult to follow Santo towards the end as well.
Right.
What we were talking about is basically about how a lot of these politicians are actually possessed. Somebody mentioned you can actually see it on high definition TV. The look in their eyes and the way they smile, and their mannerisms and the way they interact with people around them and TV.
Right.
And what we were actually saying is that, or what I was explaining to them is, the people that get these positions in politics are actually high-level Masons, like Prime Ministers, 33-degree Masons or above. And what actually happens through the Masonic degrees is the correct term. Each degree they get into the Masons more and more, and the more information that they're actually given. At the same time, they actually go through rituals that get them deeper and deeper into satanic and black magic / dark negative stuff at each individual degree, 1 to 33, for example. So by the time they get to 33, they've been through at least 33, if not more, satanic or black magic or negative rituals. And a lot of these, when they get deeper right into it, include ritual abuse of children and, paedophilia and these sorts of things. But what they actually do is they're getting possessed as they're performing the rituals. They're doing it voluntarily. So because they're committing to it voluntarily, it's basically they're acquiescing to it. They're agreeing to it. They're saying, yeah, okay, I'll go a bit further and a bit further and getting deeper and deeper into it. But one of the things I was pointing out is the deeper they get into it, what's actually going on is that they're being filmed, videoed, photographed, and a dossier is being built on them while they're doing these things, so that if they ever decided to go public later, then they could easily spill the beans on them. So therefore, they're trapped, and that's principally what I was explaining.
Well, yeah, they've all been paid. They've all got their offshore accounts. They're all bought off corporate whores in the corporate whore system, and they got to keep their secrets. Otherwise, they throw them down the drink. Sort of like now, let's take a look at General Petraeus. I call him Betrayus because it's ironic that in 2008, when they were doing the change of the guard with Obamaism, they got rid of all the good admirals, all the ones with the actual moral compasses and character, and they made them go bye-bye, retired out or whatever, so that they could bring their black hearts. But they do eat their own, and Petraeus is one of those. I don't think that's got nothing to do with sex or anything else. I think that's all a cover. I think it's a scam. I'm reading other sides of the coin because that's the crazy-making behavior. But that's what the lamestream media covers. But they don't cover nothing of substance. So there's a reason why. Maybe he got a soul for a second, and they said, "Well, we'll have none of that. You're tied deep into our system, and we'll throw you under the damn bus." And they do it to their own all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I will put forward on that one is the sex is part of it. It's sex magic. The emotions and the physical pleasure that can be derived from that sort of thing, and even a normal couple having sex enjoy having sex. There's deep emotion there. There's deep, meaningful adrenaline, and there's deep things, there's deep emotions involved in that. And the deeper the emotion, the more emotion you put into an act, the greater the manifestation of the of the result, if you like. I suppose is the easiest way to put it. So yeah, it is debasement of the human race down to its base level, its base consciousness. And it's powerful stuff. And they're taken for it all. These guys go straight into it all the time. And the more they do it, the more pleasure they get out of it, and the deeper they get, until they're trapped, and there is no way out. They're stuck. And
they sold their souls. Yeah, it was ironic. I saw Pelosi up there today with all these. They just look like black hearts. I mean, these people had this venom, like the corrupted souls. Maybe they're not maybe they're clones or whatever. I don't know. Some people say about the cloning issue. I haven't dug real deep into that. I don't doubt nothing at this point, but I mean, that's a deeper level. But when you see these people congregate together, and I do watch them every now and then on the Idiot Box. And I'm just saying, they look like possessed, and they always, when somebody asks them a valid question, they always skirt the issue. They never give you a direct answer. It's all shake-shifter, keep them, that's just crazy-making behavior. They don't never answer anything of substance because they have no substance. They've all been bought and paid for.
Yeah, exactly. Sold their souls, basically. And there's many examples of this throughout history. In fact, I mentioned Tila Tequila earlier. She was a she was a Hollywood starlet. But she was talking about some famous film stars in America that actually she's grown up with. She's known for like 4 or 5 years. And these famous film stars went into these sex and drug-fueled orgies. And basically, she was sort of like enticed in there with them. But these film stars that are like big now, what's Lady Gaga and these sort of people, they basically accepted the agreement, and she explains what the agreement was because she was given the opportunity to accept the same agreement. And that was, we want you to sell your soul to the devil and we'll make you extremely rich, extremely powerful, and extremely well known. And you'll have everything you could possibly want for blah, 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 blah. And she actually turned around and said no, and then went public.
I've got Sandra back on the board here, so just let you know.
All right. Yeah, you can step on it anytime.
Yeah, how's that sound now, guys?
Much better.
Totally.
Yeah, I don't think this is a mechanical problem because I've got a brand new headset, Logitech, and it's a really good set. I'm pretty confident that it's a Skype problem, so let me know, and you should be able to tell now. So.
Yeah, it sounds beautiful right now.
Yeah, it was the line, it was the connection, I'm pretty sure. Keep going with that Lady Gaga and all that inside stuff on Hollywood, Pete, because this fascinates me. I've got a few stories that I can tell. I'll tell you what, do you remember Dennis Quaid about a year and a half ago? He came out and did an interview for the press, a press release, and where he said that David Carradine and young Heath Ledger were whacked. Do you remember that?
Yeah, no, I don't. That's new news to me.
Okay.
I was.
There's Dennis Quaid and what's his brother's name? The Quaid brothers from.
Yeah, the other one. Yeah, the one they.
Randy,
right.
Okay. Yeah, Randy came out and he had the balls, this poor guy, because he's been harassed too. He said, look, I'm getting harassed by a Hollywood hit. I think he called it a hit club. What they do, he says, they build actors up, they get their estate firmly established, and then they whack them. Michael Jackson was whacked. Whitney Houston was whacked. Marilyn Monroe was whacked. All of these guys, Elvis Presley, James Dean, what they do is they build them up, they make them, so to speak, then they kill them, and then they have a continual stream of income, and there's a whole bunch of banks and lawyers in Hollywood that all they do is this. They build up these unsuspecting Hollywood stars, give them plenty of sex and drugs and popularity and publicity and make them, then they kill them.
Right.
What a way to go.
Yeah.
Look at Michael Jackson, right? So he was broke before they whacked him, and then all of a sudden his estate was just bringing in the money, like Elvis Presley, right? He was struggling, and then after he was killed in '77, now he's still got an empire. It's a financial empire. Who's raking in all that money? Well, you'll find that it is a bunch of bankster criminals in Hollywood, and that's their game. That's what they do. They don't care if Lady Gaga is the most famous, or whatever. They just want they don't care for their artists. They want their money. These are animals.
Kind of like.
Yeah. Well, look at the Olympics at the end of it with Lady Gaga and all the modern day the signs and stuff, everything that New Ageism to the extreme,
Checkerboards, the all-seeing eye, the cross and compass. It was all over everything, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. These are organisations that should know better and should do better, but have chosen not to. Simple as that. They're using all the great symbols, like the checkered floorboard. That's just black and white is teaching about spirit and matter, electricity and magnetism. And yet they use those symbols, these highly, highly developed symbols which come down from antiquity, universal symbols that mean so much to the human psyche. And when they associate them with their evil corporations, so that the symbols can give their corporations power and energy, then the lower-minded, feeble-hearted buffoon sees those and says, "Oh, you see, it's all from the devil, the Freemasons and the Hermetists and they just throw it all in one basket because they've got no idea, absolutely no idea that they cannot fathom and understand that these corporations that use these symbols, they are evil. It's not the symbol. For instance, your serial killer who uses a particular brand of knife to slit the throats of his victims, you can't go and shut down that factory that makes that particular brand of knife because that knife has now killed so many people. It has nothing to do with that brand of knife. It has nothing to do with knives in general. And we would be absolutely stupid if we banned all knives because of this one serial killer, right? So, and this is what your well-intentioned, I guess, conspiracy theorists do. They point at these things and then all of a sudden condemn them because the people using them are using them for the wrong purposes. So it's the blind leading the blind, really, unfortunately.
There's lack of consciousness, basically, isn't it? That's the point.
Yeah. Yeah, I've explained in a couple of my presentations that, of course, they're going to use those symbols. What corporation is going to use some doofus, flaccid, feeble symbol that's all about, being docile and being a wimp and being passive? No, they use symbols of aggression. Look at McDonald's. They have the sign of Aries, the ram, fire, cardinal fire, bursting forth, conquering all things, unity and oneness. You see? So this symbol actually has benefited their corporation. BP, Shell Oil. Shell Oil uses the symbol of the sun. And that shell is the sun, you see, with a yellow backdrop, and you see the sun coming forth, rising from the waters. Well, the symbol actually gives credence and direct energy to that corporation. So people, it's like an icon, it's a sigil. And sigils are used in magic to cast spells. On
yeah. Texaco. So Texaco is another one.
Go for it, Peter.
Yep. Yeah. Well, they've been hiding the symbolism in plain sight for years. DC is a plethora of excellent stuff. I mean, they're, like I say, they're not hiding it. The churches, the Masons, and when you understand, when you open your eyes, you actually see it pretty much everywhere, and they're not even hiding it. It's pretty blatant. Just like they're not. The objective is to get you comfortable in the environment with seeing these different ideologies and getting comfortable with them, and there's nothing amiss, but and they'll put it in front of your face, but the sheep are so anesthetized and dead asleep, they don't look at the symbiology or anything and how it ties in, and they've been trying to tell us for years. Like I say, I mean, it's like digging up the IRS code about the estate and gift taxes. They're telling you right in your face it's an estate and gift tax. It's an estate. It's about the estate. You have 50 states here in America. Put the damn E in the front of it, and then everybody get the memo. But they don't put the E in front of it because it would be too blatantly obvious then.
That's right.
So they just hide it where you're not really looking. But once your eyes are open, you've got clarity of thought, all of a sudden everything starts making a sense and everything starts coming together. It's like me tying in this bond issue and all this other stuff. It's patently clear. You're all just corporate money marks, and we can have a field day, and I mean, tying in the CCA, expanding, and all this other garbage, and now you got the secession crap coming down, and we get some more willing bodies to be chattel property in our prison system, so we can still create more fiat. But I think for the most part they're getting desperate, and like I say, I think I think it's almost over. Like you're saying, I think 5 weeks, and the portal's open, and it's time to come out the other side.
Yeah, Pete, does anyone have any information on this secession movement now? Because I want to keep in the loop with that. I haven't seen anything yet, any developments.
I just pulled up a new article today from before it's news. I actually stuck it in the box. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. From the trenchesreport.com is a secession movement real. Okay, I like the slant on this. It's not a slant. They're actually sort of covered it. Let me see if I can put it in your box, Santos, as well, so you can see it. 1 second. I put it on Love and Stuff and as well. Let me see. There you are. Yeah, I'll go ahead and click on it and stick it there. It's in yours. Tony, I don't know if you wanted a copy. I mean, I'm paying attention. They're sort of saying what I'm saying without talking about the bond issue. It's the duping. They're getting everybody to switch gears, thinking that they're going to be able to get off the plantation, and they're getting themselves in deeper. I talked to that with Dr. Carly today as well on her show. Let's see. Anyways, let me open it up. And this is what they're saying, and it's paralleling my mind. My mind says the effort to divide we, the American nationals, one against the other, had completely fallen apart following the completion of the fraudulent 2012 election. The fact that we are heavily armed is no secret that the mainstream in the alternative media had completely lost control of the Patriot movement as people realized they were going to have to fight as individuals for their lives. Like I say, the sheep are starting to wake up. But so then out of nowhere, here comes this infamous secession petitions spreading like wildfire across the country, leaving open the opportunity for the lamestream alternate media to create a new faction in an attempt to regain control over the entire movement. And the ignorant and the cowardly took the bait like starving catfish as the proclamation came forth. Retreat, retreat. The state governments will save you if you just give them a chance. And if you don't even have to fight and die, as the state is going to do that for you. Bullshit. Where do you think these traitors in Washington, D.C. came from? They started out at the local municipalities as council members. And as they screwed you at the local level, they built credibility with the insurgency in the higher echelons. They then became county commissioners, then state representatives. And then after proving themselves to be among the elite in deceit, they were promoted into federal insurgency. Never forget those right now in your local county and state governments are backstabbing and screwing their way to the next rung on the ladder. So go ahead, buy into the fantasy, replace the treasonous thieves in the federal government with more treasonous thieves from your state government, and you'll get exactly what you deserve. In fact, it is not even going to get that far, as this whole thing is nothing more than a stalling tactic to offer you hope, in the hope that you will be able to keep your wealth tied up in the fiat currency right up until the day the dollar crashes. Again, you're going to get exactly what you deserve, and expect no mercy from those of us not stupid enough to fall for such a con. What we have said about the fence walking stands true. Go ahead and climb up on the fence, thinking you are going to reserve option of jumping down on either side to your advantage. When this happens, it's going to happen fast, and those standing on the fence are going to find themselves being blown over to the other side, as their adherence to milquetoast patriotism is going to be considered an act of treason in itself. And that's what I've been saying. That's what we were saying when it first hit the stands on, but now it's 34 states. You got, like I say, welcome to the game of hypothecation. This is the objective. If we, because NDAA was passed December 31st under the cloak of darkness while everybody was still asleep. This is this past year. And under NDAA, if anybody's halfway read it, which I have, I actually read stuff. So when I read that, they created a new venue of collecting mass amounts of bodies for the game of hypothecation. And then we get the CCA over the last 8 months, Corrections Corporation Association, or whatever they're called, the CCA. They're actually helping them write the legislation and the laws. So you got a corporate entity called CCA drafting the legislation. The Congress doesn't write it, and they just willy-nilly send it on through. So now we have the NDAA Act, as well as if you sign over to the secession movement and you put your signature on that document, as well as your Social Security number, it tells them you don't know who you are, and you're the first mark for Operation NDAA as a belligerent. So now we can do the math. If you got 30 states at 25,000 signees, in some Texas is a lot more. But do the math. They can hypothecate a whole boatload of new folks because, see, no countries are loaning USA Inc. nothing. It's an empty vessel. It's exhausted. There's nothing left. So here, what better way to create a new deal where people actually, well, I ain't buying off on this, so I'm just going to step over to the secession movement. Yeah, and you will become a belligerent. And they know where to come find you to pick your ass up to bring you down to the Gray Bar Motel, so we can have you as chattel property to hypothecate piles and piles of more fiat crap. So they're really playing into the hand, and they're not paying attention. So these sovereign citizen idiots, they better get their minds right. I was talking about that today on Dr. Carly's talk for a little bit. They don't know what they do. They don't know who they are. They really don't. And so they're thinking they're going to go over to the other side of the fence and where they're going to be safe. No, they're going to be the first on the hit list. They're opening the door to be NDAA'd as a belligerent.
Yeah, I covered a lot of this in Sin and Salvation, my presentation, Pete, where sinning is signing. And why would you sign up to state jurisdiction, federal jurisdiction, whatever jurisdiction? Why not sign up to universal, you are God, you are all that ever was, all that is, and all that ever will be? Why not sign up to that concept for once and possibly give that a go?
Right. Well, they've been effectively dumbed down to actually believe the Constitution crap, and like I say, the history lessons they taught in school were all a lie.
Yeah.
They never see. So their beady little brains only know what they know, and they only know what they've been fed. They won't go read anything on the Informer on how we've been tied to the Crown and the East India Trading Company, the Virginia Company. They've all been under the stinking crown of the Vatican for the whole entire time. And, just like I say about the Constitution, you weren't a party to it, so it doesn't apply to you. But you give over and call yourself a citizen every stinking time, and a citizen is nothing but a slave.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Another item I'd love to be in the loop is the Middle East conflict and what's going on there. Has anyone got any information there? Not that I want to, know what's going on in this world. I have lost totally all touch with this world. There is none of this world is left inside of me. It's all over. But of course, many people are suffering because of what's going on there, and it sounds like the last time I got a snippet of news was a couple of days ago. It looks very, very violent there. Any news, guys?
Yeah, I'm not following too much what's going on over there. Hell, I got enough problems tracking what goes on in my backyard, so, I haven't caught any news on it. I'm sure it's all Mossad and CIA and crazy-making behavior, as it always is. It's the same old shit with them boys.
Yeah, I wonder at how sleeping those poor boys are that go around killing little babies in Gaza. Just imagine, they've got big machine guns and uniforms. I think I think it's the power of the uniform, man. It's so intoxicating. What people do when they're in those clown suits. I've seen policemen do things that they would never, ever even utter in their wildest dreams to another human being, but because they've got this power invested in their badges and their little sigils and little symbols, and here in Australia, the policemen have around the rim of their caps, they have the checkered Freemasonic pattern, and they actually have the Star of David. They have the Red Cross on their badges. They've got all of this Vatican paraphernalia. These are clearly servants of the Inquisition, and they ponce around, and they will have their vicious dogs like the young boy that was mauled by police dogs 2 weeks ago. I had him on the radio. These police officers, they've got their own children. I wonder whether they would release the same vicious dogs that they train with on their own children, just for a bit of fun, like they did with young Tim Norman. Just a bit of fun because, oops, they're in the wrong property. These kids are in a schoolyard. Oh, the schoolyard is being hurt. Oh, that dirt they're walking on, those blades of grass. Oh, there's a corporation that says that somebody owns that land. We need to sick the dogs on these kids and hurt them because they're standing on a corporate property, and we've got uniforms, and these kids are not our kids, so let's let the dogs maul them and see how good the dogs are. Let's see how effective our training is, and I've got a taser. Let's see if this is going to give me more power when I have my foot on the back of this 60-year-old woman's neck while she's lying on the ground, and I'll just taser her in the back and in the heart area and see if I can't just stimulate her heart a bit. And these guys are sick. We have a story here in Australia where a young Brazilian boy in Sydney a year ago was running away from the police. They tasered him 15 times and killed him.
Wow.
Because he was running. Now, I don't know, I've never known running to be evil. I've never known it to hurt anybody. In fact, we go to the Olympic Games to glorify people who run fast. So this poor kid was just having a run, right? And the uniforms come along and say, no, you've got to die because we've got this uniform, you see, and we look like freaking idiots and morons with all these badges, and we don't even know that we're serving Washington, D.C., because Victoria Police are registered with either New York or Washington, D.C. I forget now and I don't care, but they are registered agencies, not in this country, not in this Commonwealth, not under the Queen. They are registered as corporations on the Securities Stock Exchange Commission, and these guys will kill you for that corporation. Something's wrong. Something's really, really wrong with these poor boys.
Yeah, I just pulled up an FBI deal. Yeah, they busted in a house, wrong house again. Opened fire on the daughter who had no gun in her hand. Wrong house, and the guy said, "There's no guns here." He yelled out because he figured it out. He was down in his basement, and they came in the house. She had two guests over, the daughter. Anyways, they started shooting at her. They didn't hit her, but the mother's like livid, like, what the hell are you people doing firing shots in my house? And they had the wrong house. They do this all the time, too. I mean, they get the wrong house, and they're ready to dust the people inside. I mean, you got to love it. I mean, this is insanity land. And then they have no recourse or remorse or anything for the dirty deed they did to the wrong house. I guess what goes around comes. It just makes me crazy in the head, brother. I can't even believe what I read every day.
Yeah, the extent of the remorse is, we're very sorry, we made a mistake, we have the wrong address, but we're looking into it, and that's it. And that's as far as the inquiry goes. We're looking into it.
And they'll cause thousands of dollars of damage inside the interior of the house. Sorry, wrong house. Yeah, they don't fix it. They don't get. I mean, they're damaging these people. Like I say, it's paramount to psychological rape, is what it is, because you're reduced to a state of shock when they come busting in your door.
Yeah, and we are getting conditioned to this. We are getting conditioned to them, allowing them to make mistakes and not holding them accountable, and therefore, and then when they are prosecuted or processed through the court system, you'll find that there will be a Freemasonic judge there, or a Jesuit or a Zionist judge there that will be lenient on these policemen, and then sending a signal further down to all the moron policemen that, hey, you can get away with it because you've got friends in the court system. Folks, we need to stand up now, go and just absolutely withdraw all our support and all our energy from this system and focus it on the unity that is coming. We must do this united now, but first, before we can do it unitedly, we need to do it individually. Unfortunately, there are too many individuals that are waiting for the next guy to carry their part, and then once they see enough numbers putting their hands up, then they'll jump up too and say, oh yeah, I'm in. No. Doesn't matter whether you look around and there's no one there to support you. If you're an individual, you stand up alone, regardless of whether you get mocked, regardless. I've always spoken out as an individual, alone in many situations, been mocked, ridiculed. I don't care. But because either they wake up or they perish. There's two options set before us, guys. In theology, in philosophy, in this universe, there are always two roads. Always. There's the road that leads to destruction, and many are the ones on it. And then there's the road that leads to everlasting life and prosperity, and few are the ones that find it, and few are the ones that walk on the narrow and cramped road that leads to everlasting glory.
Yep. Well, we all have, that's why everybody's given free will, act, and deed. You know, you have the internal capacity, you have a moral compass, and you know what your moral compass is, and if you choose to not act correctly and stand in the breach in your proper capacity, then you're going to pay a different piper. I believe you got to have the faith of a mustard seed, and you just take the action because you're morally convicted to. You know what I'm saying? And so either you stand in the breach to your true heart and you run in that direction, or you are literally, you're casting your own self down that bad river. You're cutting off your own legs to spite the rest of your body. You know what I'm saying? I call that compromising your integrity. And you know, I don't live there. I can't compromise it because I know what's right. And when you know what's right, then you know, yeah, the road less traveled is the harder road, but you know what? At least I know I stand for who I am and in the correct capacity.
And there's no other way of knowing who you are. Because any other way is you're giving away your dominion to icons and idols. And you are devaluing and deflating your own godship in the process. Why is Barack Obama so special? He's just the head of a killing corporation called the United States. The only service they provide is murder and killing. And so why is he so important? Because a whole bunch of moron buffoons have declared to the world that they are empty-headed numbskulls, not worthy of focusing attention and glory and honor to themselves. So they give it to some moron who stands on a pedestal, can't even read the teleprompter, and they call him intelligent. I don't know how many times I've heard people say, oh, Barack Obama's such an intelligent president? He's as dumb as dog shit. And no smarter. He is stone motherless, squat diddly dumb. You can tell. You can tell he's absolutely a dumbass. And that's what they want. They want dumbasses up there. You know, the last decent president that was smart was JFK. All the rest have been absolute morons of the lowest order. There hasn't been a decent one since Kennedy.
All the rest have been bought and paid for.
Ronald Reagan was a dumbass. Carter was a dumbass. I mean, let's not talk about Clinton and freaking and the the criminal bush idiots. But which one had half a brain? They are like retarded gnats.
Yep. We just need to put something on the mantelpiece, and everybody will follow. All the sheep will think, hey, we have choice. That's why the whole system's totally broke when they actually believe the left-right paradigm. And sad to say, my own wife's still stuck on that paradigm.
Yeah.
You figure after 28 years of beating the brakes off of this stuff and proving it on multiple levels, and she still doesn't want to hear it. So, you go to sleep. I'll be moving on.
Yeah, it's funny, and the same applies with Big Pharma. They run off to their doctors, and the doctor says, "Oh, yeah, that's symptom. Here, take this. This treats the symptom." And people love it. "Oh, thank you, doctor. How much is it? $1 million. Oh, look, I'll give you $2 million. Thank you very much, because I want to treat this." No one. They've lost the wisdom of curing. They've lost the idea that your own mind can cure your own body. I have cured myself. I have kept and maintained my health with my mind. I've never allowed a doctor to infiltrate my mind and to influence my mind, or a dentist or anyone.
Yeah, because I've never, all these idiots running around, the new chemical of the day. I mean, the statins, the diabetes and all this stuff. Well, the kids are eating high fructose corn syrup. No wonder their glands don't work right, and their hypothalamus and their other organs, because they're literally poisoning the machine. And now we got to get another chemical that they get involved with. Oh, your kid's got diabetes. You know what? If you got the kid's diet right, the kid the rest of his body would fall in line, and that's provable. So I mean, all these people that have bought like the statins, and they've done major studies on them, they're all just garbage chemicals, no better than a placebo, except the chemical actually causes a deleterious effect and changes up the cellular structure in the body. You're poisoning yourself. Like I said, God knew what he was doing when he made all natural. I don't do nothing but all natural. I mean, I'm 52. I'm not on any medications. I know some people would like me to be on medications, but I treat my machine, and I don't ever go to doctors for nothing. I mean, I'm not going to have some liar tell me I got high blood pressure, this, that. I look at it this way. I know how to feed the machine. I know how to treat it. And when I go, but I'll be damned if I'm going to give over to these clowns to effectively create a disease paradigm in my mind so that I'll take their stupid poisons, Screw them. I'm not taking none of that crap.
Yeah, I've just received a couple of great little links from some listeners that are tuning into the station. And one video, obviously I can't watch it yet, but it's a 20-minute video for the listeners called Burning Conscience. And Israeli Soldier Speaks Out. So, 6 words. Burning Conscience, Israeli Soldier Speak Out. Okay, so folks, get into that one. And I've got another one, a 28-length video. It's called Jewish Man Exposes Israelis' Lies. And then it says there in the caption, I urge you to watch this full-length video. It is a true eye-opener. Thanks and enjoy.
Cool.
And then it says, please guys, don't use hate speech in commenting on this video. Freedom of speech is great, but not when used to abuse someone's religion or ethnic background. Hate speech has to be removed in accordance with YouTube guidelines. Many thanks. Folks, always remember that there is no such thing as Jewish, Italian, black people, white people, fat, short. We are all consciousness. Don't let them divide us. Zionism is not about a race. It's a corporation. The Vatican is not about the Italians and the Romans. It's a corporation. The Crown and the Commonwealth is not about the British and the English that are evil. They're not evil. They're good people. It's a corporation. These corporations have been founded and implemented and institutionalized and created to give the suggestion of being founded on races, religions, colour, creeds, etc. They're not. A corporation is just a bit of paper. It's dead. It's a corpse. It is nothing. It doesn't exist. We breathe life into it because we worship it as a false idol. Zionism is not the...
If you lose me, my phone's dying, so I know it's going to go out in another couple minutes, so I didn't leave the room, but this is the only phone that allows me to talk on this dealie, so if you hear me fall out, it's the phone's going toast. I'm just letting you know up front.
Yeah. Well, Kate's right out. So she... But, yeah, folks, Zionism is not Jews. Catholicism is not Italians, etc., etc. I mean, I know I'm speaking to the to the converted, but we need to be very, very careful. I find that there's still a trace of... I mean, there are guys out there who devote their whole radio shows to being against the Jews.
Yeah.
You know, the Jews rule the world. It's the Jews. It's the Jews. Look, I mean, yeah, there's some Jewish families like the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. They are known to be Jews for sure, and they're a part of it. But rest assured, there's a whole bunch of Spanish, Italian, German, Greek families that have nothing to do with religion or race. Certain groups, for instance, the Khazarians, they live in Europe, and these are the people who have a lot of power in Europe through their money, and they live in countries like Switzerland, Germany, Italy, but they are not Germans, Swiss, or Italians at all. So It has nothing to do with that. It's transnationality, it's trans race. It's just a bunch of criminal families that call themselves the elite. They are the economic elite. They are not the spiritual elite. They are not aristocratic. They are bourgeoisie, and they are lowlifes in that all they care about is their corporations turning over the dollars. And they will rape this planet for that very reason.
Yep.
And how about the news that Shell Oil, or was it BP, was fined something in the order of billions of dollars for all the damage in the Gulf 2 years ago?
Yeah, and that was a slap on the wrist. And I have a friend who's in California who actually lived in that environment and had to remove herself physically because of all the Corexic spraying and the poison and the toxins, and they're still dealing with it. This stuff attaches to a carbon-based molecule. Corexic does. Guess what your body is? A carbon-based molecule. And it's actually causing internal tissue bleeding, down to the kidneys, multiple organ issues, and they're not even talking about it. And it's still happening today.
Wow.
Nobody's paying attention. I mean, the sheep have been effectively neutralized, even down in that environment. They were banging the drum, telling people to get the hell out of there. And, there's major issues. They have benzene poisoning in their bodies. I mean, they have chemicals. They're taking blood tests, these doctors. There's some good doctors. And everybody's coming up with these benzene toxins. And, the water's safe to swim in. Bull crap. The seafood, they're sending it to the military to eat. Is their disposable products, to eat these disposable products. And they're all corrupted. The whole damn, they're still feeding them the food chain. And people are, come on back down to Louisiana, the water's fine. Bull crap. You couldn't pay me enough to go swim in that crap or go even hang out down that deal and eat the lobster or the shrimp or any of the other seafood or mollusks because they're all poisoned. The Gulf is dead. It's not moving anywhere.
Yeah.
The water flow has stopped.
One of the main reasons for that was so that they could actually insulate the bottom of the Gulf of Mexico and actually cut off the Gulf streams for the airflow to the European Union. We're in for an ice age, guys.
And nobody's even talking about it. Just like the poisoning coming in from over, we ain't hearing nothing about, they turned off all the monitors after.
Oh, there goes his phone. His phone just died.
Yeah, absolutely. You're sounding better, Kate.
Oh, there you go. Thank you. You sound great. I'm just sitting back listening to you guys going. It's great, doing my thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, another video for the listeners, folks. Another one. Make sure these get posted out far and wide. Just a 4-minute video called Video Israel Doesn't Want You to See. So just recapping those 3 videos for all the listeners. Number 1, Burning Conscience, Israeli Soldier Speak Out. Number 2, Jewish Man Exposes Israel's Lies. Number 3, Video Israel Doesn't Want You to See. Watch them, spread them around, folks, because it's time for the fiction to go bye-byes, and it's time for the flesh and blood to have its voice. And the flesh and blood is you and I.
Just for the listeners' benefit, there are at least 4 of those videos entitled Video Israel Doesn't Want You to See. Just for reference, I'll post a lot of them.
Yeah, good. Post them everywhere, left, right, and centre, folks. That's what I'm doing. I'm just busy here all day. I don't do much else but radio, posting, researching, reading, preparing for presentations. In fact, I'm editing my part 2 of Syncretism today. It'll be up tonight. And on the weekend, on Saturday, I'm doing part 3. I've got piles of notes, piles of new information. Syncretism is here. It's back and it's here to stay. And this time it will never go away. And it will be the way that people will return to the knowledge of who they are. The trick is knowing who you are. If you think you are your body, you don't know who you are. If you think you are your name and your title and your job position and your status in the community, then you don't know who you are. We are none of those things. We are spirit. We are God experiencing, seeing through this fleshly organism. The fleshly organism is a neurite. It's a dendrite. It's a synapsis. It's just another cell of the conscious organism that the world is. There's no separation between all of us. My voice is your voice. I'm speaking for you. The mistakes I make are the mistakes you make. If I say something, if I need correcting because I haven't got something right, well, I welcome that, because it's me correcting me when you correct me. If I just lose the ego, we need to lose the ego, not the higher ego, the identity, the individuality, but the personality ego. The personality is getting in the way. The personality thinks that it's got an investment portfolio. It thinks that it's got properties, a career, honor and dignity, and distinction in the community, and position and status in the society. That's the personality ego. The individual ego, the God that is within the spirit that is in the body. It's time to get to know that. It's time to get that to know that one, and to allow the personality to dissolve itself. It's just a face. It's hypocrisy. You see, what does the word hypocrite mean? It means an actor. You see, the Greeks, when in their theatres 2,500 years ago, they would act behind a mask. And those masks were called hypocrisy, hypocrites. And so you'd put it on your face and you'd walk around as a character. But it's just a ride. Remember Bill Hicks? It's just a ride. Well, let's be serious about truth, but not too serious about ourselves. Take ourselves too seriously. And but be serious about truth, because at the end of the day, truth will always be unaltered and unaffected by the lie. You see, it's like light. You cannot distinguish the light with a little bit of darkness, but you can go into a dark room with a little bit of light, like a candle, and you can extinguish the darkness. So it works the opposite for darkness. We can vanquish darkness. Darkness is ignorance, dark thoughts, dark ideas, opinions that have no basis in reality. Time to lose them, time to shed them. The system is geared to poison the truth. We know that. We know that. But are we participating in correcting our language and correcting our lives so that we can elevate ourselves from the fiction? Takes a lot of energy, takes a lot of effort, but you need to know who you are. And unfortunately, people are too distracted. Must take time out to go for a walk or meditate every day, turn the TV off, know thyself. There's only one way of knowing thyself, and that is spending time with yourself. Unfortunately, many of our brothers, too often like to go out and hang out with their friends. Friends are great. But many times, these pastimes are just a waste of time. The best pastime you can have is meditation. Now, in particular. Right now, as we build up to the end of the year, it's time to be acquainted with thyself and know who you are, that you are all that is and can't be anything else. And look at the word is. Yeah, exactly. ISIS. Being. Rather than thinking and doing. Thinking and doing is the most part participating in sin. That's a bit of a shock to some, but it is. Thinking is not being, knowing, and doing is not being, whereas we are led to believe that they are. A rational, logical, thinking man in this world, can succeed in prosecuting people in court. Prosecutors are thinking, rational, logical people, are they not? Attorneys, lawyers, solicitors, barristers, judges, and all of these morons serving the Vatican. That's not what it's all about. It's not about those things. Thinking, these are people that are not being. These are people that are not knowing. For if they knew, if a magistrate knew, rather than thought about what they were doing, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. So knowing and direct knowing is beyond thinking. Turn the thinking machine off, folks. It's a noise. It's a rackety old... That's why they call... It's like a chatterbox. The old chatterboxes? Taka, 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 taka. That's what people have in their mind all the time. Thoughts, always taka, 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 taka. Noise, noise, noise. It's time to silence the noise and go into knowing. I find that when I'm in the knowing, I am living in sheer bliss. I have so much bliss in my life because of knowing and being. I tell you what, though, thinking and doing are always interfering with that in my life. I do a lot of thinking and being and doing. Believe you me, I'm not. Don't look at me as a model of perfection. You'll be stumbled. But there are greater, more exemplary human beings on this planet than myself that can teach the science of being. In Taoism, they say that the art of doing is being. And unfortunately, we get very left-brained and mechanical, and we go out there and we go and fix things, The highway to hell is paved with good intentions. And the moment we know who we are, we have knowledge and not thinking, and we have being and not doing. Policemen are doers. Oh, they stop you on the road. They've got tasers and everything. They've got their hands on their tasers. They've got their little fictional legislation. Oh, you were speeding. Oh, you did this. Oh, you did that. I'm going to give you a ticket. Nah, 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 nah. They're like little children. They're morons. They are real morons. Telltale little morons. You know, like 500 years ago when the papal bulls were issued to all the Catholics to tell on their heretic neighbours, if you suspect anyone dabbling in any kind of thinking that is contrary to Catholicism and orthodoxy, you make sure you tell us, and we'll send an inquisitional officer around and we'll keep Christendom clean of heretics. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they were looking for heretics so they could steal their property off them. That's what they were looking for. And that's why the Vatican is such a powerful and rich institution, because they stole it from unsuspecting idiots who let them get it. So it's time now to divest the Vatican of its riches, distribute its riches to all the poor, and be done with these fictions. The Vatican must go. It must go. How it's going to happen, I don't know, because I'm not advocating, or any sane person would not advocate violence or retribution or hatred towards these institutions. But at the same time, justice must be done.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
these fictional organisations must go bye-byes. Go, Tony.
Yeah, I was just saying again, from my point of view, it comes down to consciousness. The more people we can get aware of this is what's going to do it, because the numbers of people, we far outweigh the numbers of the people that are actually doing this to us. So, conscious awareness, again.
Yeah, beautiful.
Absolutely. Again, it's about the intent. I've just been posting some stuff around for people. I just want to share this. I think I've got about 8-9 minutes left here, so just want to quickly share this. If you send something in the mail, it's already considered delivered by the fact that we put it into the mailbox or sent it. And I'll tell you why, because in 1892, it was a British case, Henthorne versus Fraser, and it was summarized as follows. So, the power of sending out something considered their matter that they signed for, so the contract's already stated by the fact that you had the intent to recreate the contract. You know, it's a bit messed up. They want you to know how to use it in their power against them. So when they tell you something, it's already assumed. That's why if you want to get this, I just write on a contract for the center. Thank you very much. The circumstances are such that it must have been in the contemplation of the parties that, according to the ordinary usages of mankind, the post might be used as a means of communicating the acceptance of an offer. The acceptance is complete as soon as it is posted. And that's what I mean when I say intent. Okay? So it's there's no backing up. People are guessing for the most part. Everyone's like, oh my God, what they've done to me. Look at that. Stop diving in the river. You know, like the farmer that used the same tax against Monsanto that Monsanto was using against him. If they were because, you know, some wouldn't go to sea or whatever, and they think about profit. And he's made his implications and he decided, well, and what he did before harvest was he'd go around through the crops and he'd find all the Monsanto stuff. He'd think, I need you over here to clean this out. I'm taking you to court, by the way, for trespass. All the rest of it. And real quick, over people that are there, their places to pay them off real quick with shouting and well, better tell on the corner. But the bottom line is these resources are getting exposed for here. And even though it's been modified us, the human genome, same rules apply backwards. You didn't have my permission to modify that, which I am, and that's for you. And that's the same thing. They're breaking universal law, but with all these genetically modifying organisms that they're creating, that people are eating, in the same way they're trying to, patent a pig because, they design
Kate, that was a bit broken up. Pete, were you able to cap that? Would you be able to cap what Kate was just saying?
Yeah, I couldn't really understand what was being read. Peter's, unfortunately, his phone's dropped off, but I mean, the one part that I did catch in that was natural law, and I mean, I did catch initially while Kate was beginning to talk. It's all about if you miss it, if you are allowing yourself willingly or unwillingly, wittingly or unwittingly to be fooled, you acquiesce your natural law. In other words, natural law is going to come at you whether you like it or not, just because you weren't smart enough to work it out, or you didn't pay enough attention, or you didn't give a shit, or whatever. The same thing is going to befall you, and that's, I think, what Kate was. I know for a fact what Kate was trying to get across. If we allow them to do it to us, then we acquiesce it, and if we acquiesce it, we accept it, either by saying nothing. Carry on. No, it's still hacking you to pieces. But anyway, if you can type it, Kate, I can repeat it. That'll be a lot easier. No, but as I say, if we acquiesce to something by not saying anything about it, not doing anything, pretending not to notice, or just ignoring it and sticking your head back under the cover or in the sand, then nothing's going to be. You're going to get what you're given, and you acquiesce to it. And I believe we've got 2 minutes left. So, Santos, do you want to give out some details and stuff like that? Well, firstly, do you want to comment on that natural law thing, because it's very, very important.
Yeah, for sure. We'll just wrap it up. Now, your Cosmic Consciousness link is on my website, which is universaltruthschool.com. So that's covered yours, Tony. Cool. And, of course, my YouTube handle, Mr. Astrotheology. I do recommend for the listeners to watch the latest presentation, Syncretism, because I've busted a lot of the fictions there, folks, and with the help of a lot of great scholars, many references, many proofs. That's all I do. I just offer proofs. I'm not claiming to have access to crystal balls or people high up that give me information. I'm just a one-man operation. I do everything myself. I've taught myself everything I've ever learned how to do in my life. Music, languages, theology, astrology. I taught myself to do everything. I've never had teachers. And so what's in those presentations is unaffected by educational or institutionalized learning. So folks, I do recommend, please watch the latest one, if anything, and keep your eye open for the next ones that I have coming up on syncretism. And how are we going for time?
Yeah, about 25 seconds.
25 seconds. Okay. Thanks, listeners. Tune in next week for more syncretism. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Pete. Always, as usual, it's great to have this panel, my favourite panel. Thank you, and until next week, take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Much love to all.
Perfect timing.
Good night.
Okay, Santos.